It's time for another episode of Leadership of the Leaf, now in their third season. More leadership topics to discuss and more cigar knowledge to share with great pairings. Grab a cigar, give it a cut and light, and put some smoke in the air with your host, Dice and Austin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Leadership of the Leaf. My name's Austin.
And I'm Dice.
I'm Mr. Dice. I noticed you have something there in between your fingers, and I want to know what you are smoking this evening for this episode.
Oh, well, for this episode, sir, I am enjoying the Jake Wyatt Lancero.
Ooh, Jake Wyatt Lancero. And of course, as is our custom, as is your custom, what Hennessy are you pairing that with?
So naturally, you're going to think I'm drinking. Nah, I am drinking Hennessy. For this episode, I'm drinking DS, because I really want to pull these flavors of the Lancero, because everyone knows Lancero is all about the wrapper. Austin, I mean, we know what I'm drinking. We know what I'm smoking.
The cigar that I'm smoking?
That's let's move right on to that. Let's just go right into it.
So, I think we've talked about that. I think I've mentioned that I have one of these before, and I've never smoked it. So this is the first time. But I'm smoking a Baccarat Lancero.
Oh, Baccarat.
Yeah.
I like their smokes.
Yeah.
But you're getting a Lancero one, so yeah.
Yeah, I have a Lancero and a regular.
Oh, that's cool.
So I want to see if they smoke any differently.
Okay. I'm seeing a theme. We're both smoking Lanceros. So
yeah.
What are you drinking?
Well, I went very simple.
Very irrelevant.
Didn't want to interfere. No. I'm drinking Glenfiddich 12 year Scotch whiskey.
Scotch whiskey. There you go with the Scotch whiskey thing.
You see this on the label, right?
I see.
It says on the label, Scotch whiskey.
I get that. I'm still single. What's that? Single malt Scotch whiskey.
Aged 12 years.
I'm still ignorant to that. Like, is it a Scotch? Is it a whiskey? I'm just, you know what? I'm not going down this rabbit hole with you. I'm not doing it. Like I alluded before, we're both smoking Lanceros. Why are we both smoking Lanceros?
Because we have skinny fingers and they don't make them look fat.
Because I'm out of cigars and this is the last one left?
Or you could be like Steve Saka and put out that Lancero taste kit and then label the last one GFY, and it's a Candela Lancero, and then GFY, so fuck yourself.
Oh, we still got to get him on the show. We got to get him on the show.
It makes me so happy. All right, so yeah, let's talk about some Lanceros. I want to drop some Lancero knowledge on people. These are not cigars. They don't do well in the industry.
No, and it's always funny to me to why, because you go to almost any cigar lounge and you find the oldest smoker there. He may not be smoking a Lancero at the time, but I guarantee you he's going to tell you the Lancero probably has the most flavor.
Yeah, it's I mean, despite their old school look and feel, Lanceros don't really have a long storied history.
Not at all.
Yeah, they were first created in Cuba in 1960. They weren't produced to sell. Now, why weren't they produced to sell, Dice?
Oh, man, it's for the beard, sir. For the beard himself.
James Harden?
Oh, not that. You went too far. No, you went too early. Whatever. The first Lanceros were made by Cohiba, known as El Laguito, which means lake.
Right.
Little lake. Which means little lake. Number one, they were made only for, as I was alluding to the beard, Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro's consumption. And there was only one guy that would make them, Avelino Laura.
You know what's funny about the whole like Fidel only smoked Lanceros for a while is every picture that you see of him had and every recreation had a big old thick stogie like monstrous cigar hanging out of his mouth, not a little spindly
Not no.
hanging out of, which makes me laugh even harder that like they're really fucking with him at that point. Like, you can't even handle these. Anyway, but if Avelino Lara rings the bell because he became an industry legend as head of Cohiba's famous Cuban factory. He eventually escaped Cuba and all of that funness down there and set up shop rolling and producing cigars in the late 90s at the Grey Cliff Hotel and Resort in the Bahamas.
Now, I ask you, sir, have you ever smoked at Grey Cliff? I had the pleasure of smoking at Grey Cliff, and it was absolute one of the, I can't say best, it was one of the better of the cigars I have smoked for a very long time. It was a double espresso on point, sir.
I would love to smoke one of their cigars for sure. I just have not had the pleasure.
I understand, sir. I understand. But next time if you see one, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's the Fidel Castro guy."
I'll just tell the wife, I gotta get this for Fidel Castro, and then just walk out. See,
I would advise
doing that. All right.
I would advise not to do that. I've seen a couple of your orders, sir. She might take away your wallet or something.
Those are sanctioned orders, sir. Sanctioned. U.S.
I understand.
Proof.
I understand. Oh, man. What is Lancero Spanish for?
You went robot. You're still fucking.
I'm still robot. How about now?
Okay,
How about now? Oh, you sure? Oh! Where's the little backdrop for that shit?
Right, like, let me give you a double.
Like a bunch of these in the background, like pew pew pew.
You take two, they're small.
Austin, what is Lancero Spanish for? Do you know your Spanish? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Lancero is Spanish for Lancer.
Lancer? What the fuck is a Lancer?
A person who holds a lamp.
See, every time I pronounce it, because I took Spanish in high school, right? Doesn't matter. You roll your R, Lancero.
I don't tend to, unless it's a double R.
Ah, I see.
That's when I tend to, and yeah, I'm a gringo, and but does it even matter? Does it matter? The Spanish cigar terms, people butcher them. Have you ever heard someone from Boston try to talk about cigars?
Are you? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, smoke a cigar.
But you really want to talk to me about mispronouncing anything? Come on. Of all people, really?
Happy. It makes me smile.
Well, I'm college educated.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so what even is a lance? I mean, I get the resemblance, but to me, Lanceros have always and will always look like pretzel rods. Right?
Yeah, they 100%. I was looking for little bits of salt on this mofo. Speaking of looking at it, man, I really got to look at the makeup of mine, and yikes! It is not a pretty.
Really?
It's not a pretty wrapper. There's lumps and bumpy and uneven areas. It's smoking well, but I'm just saying it's just not.
Okay.
Anyway, I disrupt the show. Let's get back to it.
Well, I'd like for you to disrupt the show and tell me your first third.
Well, after viewing this thing and really looking at it, it started off pretty rough. I think I kind of overlit the end. Mm-hmm. I'll blame myself because it was very.
I blame you too.
Yeah, dark, not like smoky, whatever, fiery burn. But after I got past my fuck up there, caramel and cocoa-y.
Okay.
There's a hint of spice in the back.
So, Baccarat has that sweet tip, right?
Yeah.
So, that's interfering a little bit. But, getting like a kind of a hazelnutty, a little bit, but there's sweetness back there, like caramel or something on the back end. That's pretty, I mean, it's good. It's very kind of mellow for me. I mean, this is not a cigar that I would normally pick up and be like, I have to have one of these. It's not one of those. It's just, this is what I had in my humidor. Now, I have Lonsdales also in my humidor, but we're not talking about Lonsdales.
That was last season, sir.
It is. I know.
Go back and listen.
You made me have, look, I have 2 Lonsdales from a friend of ours.
Oh. Zohar.
Yeah.
Oh, ZR Cigars.
Yeah.
All right.
2 Lonsdale ZR cigars, which I'm looking forward to smoking. I've been letting them rest, getting ready for them. But you need to go get a Lancero. So this is Lancero that I had in my humidor that I had to go out and buy. So I was happy with it.
We gotta see if we can get Zohar on the show.
All right, derailed again. So
right. Well, I was going back to back. Have you smoked a Baccarat before? Any back?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm very interested to hear your feedback on the actual Baccarat compared to the Lancero, because they are very, in my opinion, just in general, they're mellow cigars to begin with.
Very, very mellow. Very mellow.
So they're not in our wheelhouse. Period.
No. I did bring out other cigars to smoke after the show, right? We have to have a cigar with the show, and then we get the cigar after the show. It's like an after show treat. And those pictures will be online for everybody to see.
Yeah, we gotta have an after show cigar to talk about your fuck ups on the show. How many times you mispronounce something?
I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Looking back at the Lanceros, right? We talked about our first third. Who smokes Lanceros? You know anyone famous that may smoke Lanceros?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah. Have you watched The Last Dance?
Oh, who hasn't watched The Last Dance? I think I watched it twice.
That motherfucker's sitting there rolling Lancero, like a Lancero in his fingers, like every 2 minutes. It's not even like he's cocky, just like got Lancero in his hand. I'm like, this motherfucker's just sitting here smoking Lanceros like it's nothing.
You remember talking with the Flavor King about the Cigar Lounge 8? How he has a cigar locker there, but you can't really use it because his Lanceros don't fit.
Yes, I do remember that. That was pretty funny. But
was that on air or was that in person? I don't remember. Well, either way, it's on air now.
It's on air now. Thanks, guys. Your secrets are not safe with podcasters. Anyway, did you know? So you talked about that wrapper being all toothy and bumpy and not up to snuff, so to speak.
Yeah.
So Lancero is the hardest and most expensive cigar to roll.
I could see that. What is it? According to Oliva, it can be expensive for a number of reasons. Difficult size to roll, needs a lot of quality control in the factory, which I can see like they probably didn't care about the quality of how it looks when they were done rolling this one, and with a high rejection rate. I could see that.
Well, I mean, you got to think about like the difficulty in balancing the tobaccos, right? Like you need just the right amount of underfill in the cigar, and it won't, that way it won't burn hot or taste bitter. And if you overfill it, it's going to have draw issues or no draw at all. It's super long and thin. You can't bunch up a bunch of leaves in there. And then the wrapper is the most expensive ingredient of a cigar. And Lancero, the wrapper is more noticeable because there's less filler to mute its flavors. So in a cigar industry with a notable tasty wrapper like a Fuente Opus X or an Ashton VSV or Oliva V, the Lancero is the first-rate way to experience that wrapper's true character because you basically get almost all wrapper.
Yeah, it's not all of. Clearly, if you look at one, you can tell it's not all about the filler. There's some filler there. I'm pretty confident to make sure that it burns evenly, as you was suggesting with it. But it's definitely the wrapper is the prize of the show here.
Oh yeah, wrapper and I would say wrapper and binder are the two things that are a must for a Lancero.
When all Lanceros are patellas, but only long patellas are Lanceros. The Lancero's inspiration is the patella, a long, thin cigar ranging between 5 to 7.5 inches in length, with a ring gauge about 34 to 38. Comparison to the standard Cuban measures, 7.5 inches long by 38 ring gauge. But those made outside the island are often shorter and somewhat chubbier, which I'm pretty confident we've seen a few that almost hit the Lonsdale status, but they still carry the same weight as a Lancero.
Right. The Panatella.
What did I call it?
A patella.
So we're going to talk about that after the show.
Oh. Nope. I just roll right over what you say without giving shit whatever.
Panatella. What? Patella. Panatella. There's an N. I negated the N. The NA is silent in the middle.
Anyways, so depending on where you're gonna find, wherever you find your Lancero, most of them around are gonna be around 6 inches in length with a 38-40 ring gauge, which is nice and thin. It's not like a 9x90 Asylum.
Talking to you
and United with their high tower.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. However, this can vary depending on the line's been blurred across all vehicles. There's that Spanish again, right? Vitola. Anyway, some Robustos are now sporting a hefty 56 ring gauge, and some Lanceros are creeping further into Churchill territory, meaning that they're getting into that 7-8 inch length, and the girth is getting a little bit bigger. So, the whole Lancero, Lonsdale, I feel like those two could be almost dang near the same thing. And then you have, the Churchill, which is a big, thicker ring gauge for everything else.
When you was talking about the Churchills being, fatter or whatever, my Lancero is 7x38.
Yeah, talking about Churchill versus Lanceros versus Lonsdale. To me, you can almost sit there and say a Lonsdale is a Lancero, but it's not. I get that it's not, but there's everyth's creeping and muddying up to each other. Everything's creeping into one category or another. You know what I mean? Like your Lancero's creeping towards the Lonsdale Churchill area, but I doubt anything's really creeping into the Lancero area because these are really super thin cigars.
Well, cigar manufacturers nowadays, especially nowadays, there is a standard for cigar sizes, but a lot of these cigar manufacturers are just really doing whatever they want. Like there's what's the cigar company that has the Texas Lancero, which is pretty much a mix of Churchill and Lancero. Yeah, it's a longer Churchill.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. But Lanceros, they can sit there and be they're wildly popular on the boutique market.
I can definitely understand that because most boutique markets, whatever, they're not in the mass production phase, so they can actually have the time to master such a skinny cigar to make, as opposed to like Oliva or one of these other companies that's trying to like really push out cigars, especially the magazine ones.
Yeah, and the love for Lancero is not there. We've talked about it before. Not all cigar makers feel the same. Like, we talked about Steve Saka. He says, like, this is from him. Like all others, this Pistola is yet another personal blending challenge that I'm given that I am vocal in my lack of appreciation for this Lancero format. So he's literally blended a freaking Lancero and caved to all the clamoring and people wanting this, stuff like that. And he literally named it, "Now Leave Me the Hell Alone."
Hashtag NLMTHA.
Yeah, "Now Leave Me the Hell Alone." And then he released that just at PCA, like you showed. He released that Lancero, I don't want to say catalog, but basically the sampler of all of his Lancero.
Tasting sampler.
Yeah, and then at the end he puts "Go fuck yourself" and made the Candela Lancero. It's like two things that never fucking sell anyways. I'm gonna do it just to piss people off. And I guarantee what's gonna be funny is, for me at least, is if that becomes a very popular cigar and he has to make it more and more. God damn it.
Man, I mean, there's quite a few like boutique cigar companies out there. Southern Draw is one that we like. Illusion, Tatuaje Foundation, and Rojas Cigars is the one that's like the small ring gauge cigars. He's king of small ring gauge, right? So it's only fitting that he's going to have one. I do believe it's a classic cigar size that is constantly overlooked, but when I want to say seasoned cigar smokers actually get one and try it, there is no complaints about it at all.
Yeah, other than it might make their fingers look bad or something like that. But you know what I'm not complaining about is the second third of this cigar.
It is smoking rather quick.
They're thin, all right? They're gonna smoke quick. It's not like it's a nub where you think it's gonna smoke quick and they sit there and last for an hour and a half. Yeah,
because there's so much girth there that it's just burning slow. They actually do burn a little faster because of the lack of girth. You know what? It's probably best if we just do the second third after the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're gonna talk about our leadership portion, which we never even discussed before we jumped into Lancero.
We was ready to jump into some Lanceros, man.
Yeah, we were so happy with the Lanceros. But our leadership topic when we come back is going to be 6 easy habits that will help you become the leader you want to be.
Easy habits, huh?
Easy. This is easy as taking a break.
We'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted to suggest a new leadership or cigar topic to your favorite podcast?
I would like to, but I don't think they would listen.
Well, that's not the case with Leadership of the Leaf.
Really?
Yeah, only thing is you need to do is comment on their Instagram at Leadership of the Leaf, all one word, and they'll listen.
I'm on the Instagram page right now. There's a link in the bio. I can even email them.
You can also send them a private message and they'll respond to your query.
Queries? Did you just say queries? Does that mean question?
Yes, it does.
Well, good. I have a few queries about cigars and a few about leadership.
Well, that's great. I can't wait for the next episode.
Hey, it's Michelle from Cigars with M on the Leadership of the Leaf podcast with Dice and Austin.
And welcome back to Leadership of the Leaf. We just had a little break there just so I can kind of get my thoughts together about the second, third, which my second, every now and again, they jab up in there. My thoughts for this second, third is rotated to like a coffee-ish flavor. It's not a strong coffee. It's like weak coffee, like you watered it down because you're a little bitch and can't drink black coffee or something. And there's a hint of spice behind it, but there's not much there for me to like bring to the forefront. And I can get some semi-sweetness from cocoa.
Okay.
And I had to relight mine a little bit earlier. I don't know if y'all heard of that.
I wasn't paying attention to
I can hear you relighting or cutting. Or what was you? I heard you doing something.
I was cutting. So, something I didn't tell our listeners. I punched this cigar. Now, we all know, if you've listened to this for any sort of amount of time, I'm not a huge fan of the punch. I think it narrows the smoke down too much, and I get bitterness quite a bit from it. So I don't like the punch. So I went ahead and kind of recut my cigar to open up that airflow a little bit, see if I can get different or better flavor.
I'm going to interrupt you because that's a nice ass fucking cutter, man.
Thank you. I got it. It's Colibri.
Oh, Colibri. Hey, we got a spot for Colibri. We're going to do a opening for Colibri. You're going to help me out. We're going to do that. Coming soon to YouTube's.
Ooh. Anyways, yeah. So it's Colibri. But anyways, because I was starting to get a lot of bitterness towards that tip, but
wow,
there's a caramel with like a hint of coffee back there.
Oh, nice.
That's not bad. It's good. It's very mild.
Light in the britches.
So it's getting overpowered by my whiskey quite a bit. So I'm having to not drink as much whiskey as I would like, so I can really taste the flavor notes of the cigar.
I can understand that.
Anyway, that was our second third. We'll continue on with 6 easy habits that will help you become the leader you want to be.
All right. So, leadership, right? Leadership.
Oh.
Leadership, like most things, comes to some people more easily than others. Here's some good news. I got some good news. Whatever your natural abilities, you can learn to be a leader if you take time to practice a few fundamental skills. As you apply these skills over time, you grow in effectiveness as a leader, and you can start today to master these 6 easy habits that we're going to share with you that will help you become a leader. This is kind of like the starting point. Like, you know what, Dice? I'm not a strong leader. It's okay, buddy. Leadership of the Leaf, we got you.
Fact. First habit is you need to exercise authenticity with yourself. Right?
What?
Yes. Authenticity is a key leadership aspect. Yeah, fake ass bitch. Identify your ethical code and never compromise on what you're going to believe is right or wrong. It's not always easy to live this way, to live in an authentic manner. At times, being true to what you know is right means going against the crowd, and that time sucks.
Yeah.
As an authentic leader, you have to be willing to look at yourself honestly, take criticism well, key, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, take criticism, and use it to improve your performance. If someone comes up to you, one, if you're not looking for feedback as a leader, you're wrong. You need to look for feedback as a leader because that's how you can more effectively lead your people. So listen when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, boss, I think, if you approached us a little bit different way, you'd get more out of the team. Don't just brush them off and say, I'm the boss, I'm going to approach you however the fuck I feel like. Listen to what they have to say. What do you mean by that? Well, there's harshness in your tone, or there's this, or there's that. I think if you're, give us a little bit more direction, we know what to do. We don't have to spend time second guessing and trying to figure out what the fuck you want. Just tell us exactly what you want, and we'll go do it. But you give these broad, vague statements in kind of a harsh manner, and we spend 4 to 3 hours just trying to figure out what the fuck you actually want from us. Okay, cool. I'll take that criticism, I'll apply it, I'll make myself better, and then you get more out of your team. Sometimes it means, hey guys, we have to work this weekend. I know this sucks. And yes, I could push this off, but that means our big client is not going to, it's not going to meet its quota on time or whatever the case is. And if we do that, we're going to have to work 12-hour shifts the rest of the week. So we're going to come in this weekend, knock it out, and be done, and then we can, do our things normally throughout the week, whatever the case is.
Another element to that is also because you're setting your standards. This is all about how authentic you are, your values. So if I feel a certain way about a decision that I made with Austin, and then Susie, Johnny, and Rebecca comes to me, and then all of a sudden I change my values from what I told you, and then I change direction with those guys. Now I just sent two different paths. Like,
Right.
which one am I being more authentic with? The one where I stood my ground with you, or the one where I was a pushover for the other three?
Right.
Because I got three against me, and I had one against me earlier. I can stand tall to the. Yes, I said stand tall to that one person, and then I bow down to those three. That's not right. Yeah, I'm not being authentic to everyone. I'm not being authentic to myself either, because I wishy-washy, I believe, is the
technical term.
Yeah, very, very leadership technical word, wishy-washy.
Well, it just causes confusion, because then I'm going to go do the thing that we said that you told me to, and then the other three are going to go, no, you don't have to do that anymore. He said we have to do this, this, and this. Like, no, he didn't. I literally just talked to him. Like, well, we just talked to him. He changed his mind. Like, wait, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
So then it's, you got to figure it out. So that's one. One step is exercise authenticity with yourself. Another one is practice effective communication. Everyone take a drink because effective communication.
Drinking a puff of cigar. There you go. All right, we said it.
Great leader is a great communicator. Learn to effectively use a number of different communication strategies to pass along your vision, values, share inspiration, and give clear commands. All while being transparent with information and open to feedback. There's that open to feedback.
Open to feedback.
Communication goes two ways.
For our listeners at home, I just want you to know that every time he said communication, I took a drink and I puffed on a cigar. I think it was a total of 3 times for that one little passage, and yeah.
Communication is key.
You fucker. So the point of all that whole thing is the feedback. Accepted the feedback in communication. Like, you want to take the feedback into consideration. You want to remain your authentic self when delivering any kind of messages to anything, but you also want to take the feedback in consideration. That way you can learn your people, and then you will be able to communicate effectively by utilizing the feedback they provided.
Yeah, and there's certain times where you take the feedback is, hey boss, I wish you would make us do these reports. Got it. I understand. Agree with you. Go do the report. It's a requirement. I'm not changing the requirement. That's being true to yourself while listening to the feedback. I agree with you. Is there anything I could do about the report? What don't you like about it? Why can't go back to see if you can solve that problem or take excess problems away or excess policies or procedures away? That's listening to the communication, to the feedback that you got, but at the same time, you got to be authentic and say, I hear you. I do. I don't like having to QC these reports. Big boss wants them. Big boss gets them.
Correct. But another aspect to help you become a better leader, or what was that topic? Easy ways to become a leader. Habits. Here's a habit. Here's another habit. We had a whole episode about habits too, by the way. So here's a habit. Apply emotional intelligence. Emotionally intelligence. What?
You and your typing.
That's fine. That's okay. Because it's a skill as... God damn it. It's good. See, that's because you made me drink so many times using the word communication. The skilled leader is able to master and manage emotions. They don't get angry in stressful situations. Instead, they have the ability to look at a problem, calmly find a solution. They work to develop a high degree of emotional intelligence by knowing yourself well, understand, overcoming your emotional triggers, and staying attentive to the emotions need to those around you. I, sir, am not the best at that. I have a 3-time limit.
Okay.
I can go over something 3 times with someone, 3 different ways. The last way is the dice dummy terms, as we mentioned before. If we're still not on the same page after that 3rd time, not so nice of a dice we'll be talking.
Yeah, I'm kind of dealing with this problem right now. I have an individual. They're emailing me from another department, and they're very passionate about what they want, and I respect the hell out of them.
Yeah, I love that. Yes.
They won't shut the fuck up and let this work. They're asking for something that's rather large for, it's like a new purchase. And I was like, hey, this is a great idea. Let me see if I can't track that down for you. Let me go RFP and all this other stuff. And the problem is nobody out there wants to make this part, this whatever it is, the thing, the project. So I'm not getting anything back, and they keep coming to me, probably on at least 2-3 times a day basis. Hey, where are we at? And I've had to take steps back, and take a step away from my computer so I can calm down, because it's taking everything I in me to not reach through the computer and stranglehold this motherfucker and say, shut the fuck up, and I'm working on it. Back the hell off. And so I keep trying to steer this individual in a correct path of, hey, this is the process. You got to walk through the process. It's not a fast process. The problem is, like I said, he's very passionate about what he wants. Nothing wrong with what he wants. But as we all know, if you're trying to do something large, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a couple hours. No business moves that fast unless it's a small business that can just go out and do something. But I work for a large business. It's very slow, and so it's very frustrating. So I have to write an angry email, delete it, and then write the correct email with the emotional intelligence that I have and go, I understand your frustration. I am working this. Please give me time. And so it just takes time, it's that emotional intelligence of not reaching through. If he was in my face about it, I probably would have him already. But because it's an email, I can take 10 steps. I can walk away, go do something else, come back, and deal with it later.
I think you almost took the words, because I have done that. I have typed the email, ready to hit send, and I stop. And I copy that email into like a Word document, reread it after I take a breather, 10 minutes or whatever.
Go walk
take
out.
A breather. Then I reread my angry email, and then I'm like, what am I trying to say? What am I saying in this email? Let's take away the swear words. Let's take away the angry and the all caps and bold typing.
Keep your name out my motherfucker's mouth.
So I agree with you on this whole email debacle.
Well, and here's another habit, and it kind of goes right along with what we're saying. You got to generate a positive outlook. So it's easy to be positive when things are going well, but a skilled leader is able to remain confident when things go wrong. Learn to embrace the failures and inspire your team and those around you to consider every circumstance, good and bad, as an opportunity to learn. Positive outlook is going to encourage others to create an environment where people want to remain, and positive thinking and positive action go hand in hand. So when somebody wants their project, I don't want to tell you no, let's work to get to yes. Or instead of saying no, say yes if these conditions are met. Yes, I can do that if these conditions are met. I can work 7 days a week for 6 months straight if I get paid all this stuff and have all these benefits. Yes, I can get your project done if that's the only thing on my plate. Yes, I can make that timeline if I take other things off my plate. It helps generate that understanding of, I only have so much time in the day and I'm only one person. And you generate that positive outlook. Instead of just saying no and shutting somebody down, you go, yes, if I can do this stuff. Or, I don't want to tell you no, I want to work to yes. People are like, oh, okay, let's work on it.
You also don't want to shoot down someone's, like, if they come up with, let's say, the silliest or dumbest, like, plan or something moving forward, You think it's dumb. Everybody in your group thinks it's dumb. It's probably the stupidest thing you ever heard. You don't want to shut that person's creative thought process down. Like the school teacher be like, yeah, Billy, that's a good answer. Let's see if we can expand on that. Or that is a good answer. There's a better one. Let's see if we can find it. You don't want to like alienate that person from everything. You want to give them the positive outlook or feedback to keep them in the game. But you also don't want to accept a fucking dumbass idea either.
Right. Yeah. Brainstorming. All right, that's an idea. Yeah, we can make cats wear hats. I guess that's an idea. Does anyone else have any other ideas? Because I feel like we could get some better ideas. What about if we had cats go in the litter box? What about that? That's an idea. Oh yeah. What if we did this? And what about? All right, there we got. Cool. We listened to that guy's idea. Cats and hats. Like great. Fucking stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. We're not Dr. Seuss, but now okay, we didn't shut him off. But now he's come up with like, well, what if the hat was? Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, just think if you shut the guy down immediately, and then like future ideas he will not share, and his future ideas may be brilliant because he's obviously he's thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, exactly, he's a very innovative thinker.
You don't want to murder that guy. So generate a positive outlook is definitely a handy habit to accept. Also, you gotta admit mistakes, even if you're afraid of looking weak. A skilled leader readily admits mistakes. When you do, you show your human side and gain respect. When you're candid and honest about your own mistakes, your employees feel safe admitting theirs, helping to create a humanized, accepting, open culture. I cannot tell you the number of times I've made a mistake. Hey guys, hey everyone, gather around. I fucked up. Let me tell you how I fucked up, and this is what we're going to do to fix it.
Yeah, and that's I see that in parents quite a bit. Like, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have said this, but they don't say that. They just go, well, just fucking do it because I said so, or whatever. And it's like, okay, I got it, but you're having him or you're having your child do something really stupid, and you don't want to say, that was a dumb idea. You're right. You don't do that. Do this instead. You just say, well, but do it because I said so. That's fucking stupid.
That's a cop out.
Yeah. That's a cop out. So just admit if you made a mistake. Hey, my bad. I fucked up. You see, players and professional athletes do it all the time. They raise their hands. My bad. I fucked up. Yeah. That's my bad. I made that foul. Yep, that drop ball. That was on me. Yep, I know. It was open. I got it. 100%. It's my bad. 100%. I got it. Here's what I saw, and I didn't see that until I was already passing the ball to somebody else in double coverage. My bad. 100%. I'll do better on my next one. Boom.
I found myself in a group setting where I admit that I'm the head guy or whatever, and I admit that I made a mistake, and a lot of the members of my group, I don't want to say they make excuses for it, but they kind of point out different things. They kind of point to how that mistake was made, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then as a group we come together to resolve the whole situation, and now everybody in the group kind of learned from my own mistake that I admitted that I did. Be like, right. Oh yeah, you should have filled out this form instead of that form. Oh, I didn't even know about that form.
Yeah. It's definitely a super valuable skill to have. Another habit is be a role model that others want to emulate. So as a leader, your actions set the tone and the standard for appropriate behavior in the workplace. Exhibit actions that you want your team to emulate. You can establish rules of conduct to help people understand expectations, but the best way is to encourage the behavior you want to see is to correctly and precisely demonstrate yourself. A perfect example of this is there's a code of conduct that says no inappropriate jokes at work. If you're out there emailing inappropriate memes to everybody, you're going against your own set of code, and people are, the next thing you know, you're getting a sexual harassment complaint or a fucking racial complaint or something like that against your department. They're like, well, they were making all these jokes. Like, oh, I thought it was okay. The boss emails out those those memes every week, those are inappropriate sometimes. Like, fuck. You know, you set yourself up for success. So be the person you want others to be. And we've all had good leaders and bad leaders. And I guarantee you, nobody has ever had a bad leader and go, you know who I want to be when I grow up? That guy. I want to be like him.
What's the lead by example? And then you have those leaders that say, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm looking up to you, buddy, and
you're a cop out.
I see you riding all day long without your seatbelt, but yet you yell at me for not wearing mine? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I see you doing this, working over your head without safety glasses. And, I do it, and you sit there and bitch at me about OSHA violations. What the fuck is that all about? Like, well, do as I say, not as I do. No, fuck that. Can't do that. It's just the bad time.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a habit to actually lead by example, because you're going to be authentic to yourself, right? Effective communication is going to go a long way. So if you lead by that example of being an effective communicator, accepting that feedback, applying your emotional intelligence, and generating a positive outlook, as a leader, you develop these habits. You'll see that you're going to become a leader almost overnight if you follow all those steps.
Right, and that helps you get the last habit, which is leading from within. So, you want to be that leader, not that manager, that leader that pulls the rope pulls the task with your team, not sits behind the desk and cracks the whip. You want to practice and master skills that are going to improve your leadership. Be the role model, admit your mistakes, generate that positive outlook, apply your emotional intelligence. If you don't have any, develop some. Practice effective communication and get your authentic self out there in front of your people, because guaranteed people can sniff out a snitch and a fake a mile away.
Oh, 100%.
And it's going to come to bear ugly fruit for you if you're like, oh, yeah, guys, I got your back. And then you turn around to the boss and go, yeah, my team didn't do it. I don't know what. I told them to do it. They didn't do it. My team sucks.
Yeah. As in that positive outlook on your final third.
So this is interesting because I'm getting that bitterness. It's almost white peppery. I'm going to take another puff. Yeah, it's like a white pepper, which is really weird for this cigar. But there's an earthy undertone to it. It's interesting. What about your final third? Because you're further down along than I am.
Yeah, mine went towards a wood. I still got coffee, but I got some wood, and I haven't took a sip of my Hennessy for quite some time since the whole communication debacle. And I got some pepper.
Okay.
I got some pepper. So I'm pretty confident that Hennessy may have pulled that pepper off at the beginning or near the second, third, because I did get a hint of spice then. But I'm definitely getting some pepper now. Not overpowering, not like, pepper bomb, fuck this thing. But I can definitely get pepper, especially on like a small retro inhale, because we both know I don't retro inhale often. But definitely wood and coffee is the predominant.
Okay. Now it's time for single, 5-pack, or box worthy.
It's time to answer the question: is the cigar box worthy, 5-pack, or just 1 or 2?
This cigar, it was a little lackluster in the Lancero department for me. The wrapper, which is Ecuadorian Habano, really didn't suit this cigar well. I don't know if the filler didn't really match, even though there's not much filler. All right, I'm gonna get to it. Single. I'm not going to try to sugarfoot around the whole thing. Single. It's a great cigar. I'm not saying it's not. My flavor profile isn't there for it. It's a Lancero. I do enjoy the appreciation for the wrapper, but something about it just didn't click with my palate. It's definitely a single. I'll probably even go say I'll get 2, just to keep in the humidor whenever I want something like completely off the cuff, different. But for me, it's a single.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you. This is a single for me. Honestly, if I didn't already have this, I probably wouldn't pick it up again to smoke. I feel like there's better Lanceros out there. And I'm not mad at this stick. It's just not in my wheelhouse. The flavors were very mild. They were overpowered with a little bit of whiskey, and that to me is kind of a knock because I don't tend to pair things with like water. So to me, this is definitely a single.
Very, very well said, sir. I kudos.
Oh,
I'm still curious of when you actually smoked the Baccarat,
okay.
the full size or Robusto. I don't know what size the other one is, but it's not a Lancero.
Right. Yeah, it's not a Lancero. So, all right. Well, so talked about the wonderful Lanceros that don't sell well hardly at all.
Unless you're Fidel Castro.
Yeah. And then we talked about the 6 habits, easy habits.
Easy. They're easy.
They're super easy. That will help you become the leader you want to be. But until next time, my name's Austin.
And I'm Dice.
And great leaders smoke great cigars.
Facts. Easy facts.
Thank you for listening to Leadership of the Leaf. The comments and opinions expressed by the host and guests does not reflect the opinions of those that broadcast this show, nor does it reflect any of our affiliates.